back to Joe, Danielle, and Billy, and Elvis Fans Matter. And today we're going to talk about a lot of people.
That's my favorite thing.
Mostly off camera. I mean, no, I'm going to talk about, really, I want to start out with talking about a person I was, close to in Elvis's group.
Yeah.
And we got pretty close over the years, and I'm speaking about Richard Davis. Richard was a pistol, I'll tell you. He was in for everything. It was done. He enjoyed having fun, and
Easy to get along with.
Easy to get along
So
with.
easy to get along with.
And one story comes to mind. I may have told it before, I don't know, but one in particular comes to mind, and then I'll go on with some more. And this is for Kim and the boys,
And the
maybe
girl.
all
And the trips.
Madison, yeah.
and Don me, I said
There's
boys.
one
I didn't
girl.
mention her, but I'm sorry,
Madison.
you two, Madison. Yeah, Maddie. Is it Maddie?
Madison.
Okay. Anyway, we were on the set, and the set that we was on is where they filmed Phantom of the Opera. And these, what do you call them up there? Like Lincoln was in, and the Phantom of the Opera. Excuse my hands. You know what I'm talking about? What do they call those? Booths? Booths.
Booths. Oh,
Booths,
like
yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like the booths.
Anyway, we were up in one of the booths. Well, we knew Elvis had to come around by there, so we took us some water up there because we wanted to, get a chance to get even with him because he'd pull one on us. So he come around, and he did. Boy, we took our 2 little glasses of water, and it hit him, but it hit him on the back here. Well, and every studio, every one of them, they got this hydrant. I mean, it's, like a fire hydrant, not quite as big, about that big around the nozzle,
For you to
fairly
get the
big.
water out.
So he turned that sucker on, and I mean, he blasted us, and as they said in used cars, and he knocked us on our asses too.
Well,
We
you and
never
Richard,
thought-
was it you and Richard and Elvis turned it on you and Richard?
Yeah, he got that hose blowing. I mean, and that sucker shot hard. But
He always had to go to the extreme.
yeah, he got us back right quick, like, and it was a lot of fun doing that movie. We pulled all kind of stuff, and got another thing too that I remember is a lot of things with Richard that we did was just crazy. We we were filming this movie Easy Come Easy Go,
Wonga.
and at one point he had to go to Long Beach at the naval base there and film. I think that's when he got in the water and all that stuff. But anyway, while we were there, we was working as extras, me and Richard and some of the other guys. Well, me and Richard got to walking towards the set, and this, I don't know what rank he is, because
But y'all were dressed in.
we were dressed in Navy outfits.
Navy
Yeah,
outfits,
had to be, because that's, to be an extra and all in there, you had to look like you was in. But we had on our boots, and all that. And one of the ranking officers stopped us. He said, "Look, fellas," he said, "now you got 2 choices. Either get back like you're supposed to be in uniform, or I'm gonna take you in."
Because of your boots.
All my boots, yeah. And we stood there for a minute. We said, "Sir, we're not in the Navy. We're here with Elvis Presley filming a movie, and they give us the outfits to wear." And I got pictures of that.
Yeah, I've got a picture of Richard and Billy.
I do have one. If I can remember to add it to the video. I've got one
They
on my
were
phone.
they were
in
in
the
uniform.
outfit. Yeah.
But there was crazy stuff like that happened with us, Also, I ought not tell it, but
I
it's
know,
just
but
too
you
damn
gotta tell this one.
Got to tell it, it's just too funny.
This was up on Rocker Place.
Rocker Place, yeah, we were,
I know exactly what you're gonna tell.
we were all, sitting around and all that, and me and Richard come in, well, the phone rang. And somebody answered, and they hollered out to Richard, because we were going into the den, there was a phone right there, and said, it's for you. So Richard picked up the phone, and I just stopped, we were standing there, and I heard them arguing a little bit, and finally Richard, he just got to the point where he said, look, he said, sis, this sounds like I'm hanging up, and he stuck the phone to his butt and farted. And on the phone. And another time I would tell about it.
He could think of more crap
Yeah,
than you. He
that's when
did.
we got up, got off the pippin and.
You didn't tell about the up at Rocker. What I was thinking about at Rocker Place is when he farted again. But
Oh yeah, that's
said,
when he
said, I'm
said,
gonna see if it lights up.
Yeah.
And so he struck a match and he stuck it to his butt. He had on white pants. Because Richard was real thin back then. He had the nickname of Broom. But he stuck it to his butt, and it did. When it did, and it
It
singed.
blew a blue flame, believe me.
And it singed his white pants.
But
It was funny.
we got off the roller coaster at the fairgrounds. We was all riding, and me and Elvis was in the front car, and Richard was in the second car. So me and Elvis got off. Well, hell, Richard, he got right off with us, man. And when it come back around, I told this before, this. Because what it is the chain pulls the cars up, and they just barely move until you get to the part, the downward part where you got plenty of time to get on and off. And so we got off, and of course, Wimpy Adams was his name. He ran the fairgrounds when Elvis would run it out, and boy, he about had a heart attack. Muzzle if you don't shut up, Wonga. And anyway, come back around, and when it went back up, we got back on, and we got back on. When we got back down, boy, he was just, you could see the whiteness in his face. Boy, he just about scared him to death. He said, God, please don't ever do that again. He said, I almost had a heart attack. But we were always doing some crazy stuff like that,
I remember one time, back in the early days, Richard liked to drink a little bit, because and me and Billy and Richard, you know what I'm going to say
Yep.
now. Me and Billy and Richard would always go to the Red Velvet, Sandy Farah, Martindale now. Her daddy owned it, and I remember that's the only place I could get in because I wasn't old enough to get in the other clubs. So we would go to Red Velvet, and the Righteous Brothers were playing there, and we'd always go with Richard, and and make a night of it if Elvis went to bed early. So that was out when we lived with him on Perugia Way, and Richard lived there too. But we wanted to bring our car home, and Richard was going to drive the station wagon of Elvis's Chrysler station wagon home. And so me and Billy and Richard and Danny and Joey came cross country in the car. Elvis had given us a gold Cadillac and a convertible, and we fixed the whole back. You didn't have to have seat belts or anything then. We fixed the whole back of pillows for Danny and Joey. They were little, and I remember Richard had him a cooler in the Chrysler with him, and we stopped at this one service station, and Richard got out.
His favorite beer back then was Coors.
Coors. He loved Coors.
Regular Coors.
Yeah, Coors.
Right.
And we got out. Richard popped a top and was drinking. Billy said, Richard. He said, this is a dry county. He said, don't, Richard said, I shouldn't say it, but Richard said, well, I tell you what, he said,
The hell?
after I drink this beer, he said, I'll piss all over it and it won't be dry anymore. How about that? So Billy said, okay.
Okay.
So, but we made it across country together, and we hung out a lot with Richard.
Yeah, we did.
We'd go bowling, and he was a great bowler. We'd
He was a good bowler, boy,
out in
I tell you.
California with me and Billy and Richard, and sometimes some of the other guys would go bowling, and we was just always close to Richard.
Yeah, and he would
Do that.
throw it, boy. He
Yeah.
could do it, and one time I thought, how in the hell did he do that? He run up there and he spread his legs open and threw that damn ball between his legs, and it went down and it stayed on the aisle too. And I thought, man, golly darn, I wish I could bowl half that good. But he was funny,
Now,
man, doing something crazy all the
He
time.
did, and when we lived on Brookie Way with him, it was you and me and Richard that went to the toy shop,
Yep.
and we bought every BB gun they had.
Yeah.
And that's when, and then we went and bought all those flash bulbs,
Yeah.
and Elvis put them all in the swimming pool, and would shoot them, and they would flash when the BBs would hit them. Then he got the bright idea. I think we've told it a jillion times, but he got the idea of wind up or battery boats,
Or just plain boats.
just
It didn't have
boats.
to be as long as they float.
We went back to the toy
Plastic.
shop and got all the boats and things they had and put them in the pool, and they would shoot them until they would sink them. And the woman that owned the house just about had a stroke.
Yeah.
They had to drain the pool, get all the glass out of it, and
That's what I was gonna add, and all the BBs and the stuff. That's a mess.
it was a mess.
Yeah,
But
it was.
God, it was fun. We had a great time that night.
It was.
But he was funny, funny as he could be. He used to go in his room, and he was always crazy about Danny and Joey, and he'd tell Danny to say stuff and to do things. I think, is he the one that put him up to asking Colonel for money? Or,
Yeah.
Yeah, he put Danny up to saying, there's the Colonel. He said, go in and ask the Colonel for money. And just before
To
he
give
got
you
to
some
it,
money.
yeah, give you some money. And Billy said, what? And Richard said, he's going to go ask the Colonel for some money. And Billy by the nape of the neck and got him back just in time. But they had him.
Boy, he did say it.
Uh-huh.
He said, you got mud?
You got mun? You got any mun?
He got in the mud, but
Richard would die laughing.
of course I
Danny
don't
would
think
go
the
to
Colonel
his
knew
door.
even what he was talking about.
His room was right next to our room, and Danny would go out and at the door and knock on the door and say, "Let me in, Richard."
Richard?
And Richard would say, go on, Danny, you can't come in." And he'd go, "Richard, you son of a bitch." And Richard, of course, Richard taught him that, and Richard would die laughing.
But anyway, that's
He was a character.
he was, and that's a lot of things I wanted to share with everybody. Some of the stories of Richard. And,
Yeah.
And a lot of the other guys too. And well,
That was a close-knit
we were
Group.
close together.
but a lot of them closer than others.
One more time, and it's muzzle time.
Remember, I remember when we went to Palm Springs and we went up in, was it Ottawa Mountains up there? And I remember we've got pictures of Richard on top of a rock like a caveman, with a big, and also riding backwards, holding the
Yeah, riding the horses
yeah,
backwards.
riding the horse backwards. Anything to make you laugh. He just he was a fun.
We had fun, boy. And of
Missed
course
him, just. But he was one of the ones that we were closer to, that we did more with than some of the other guys. Marty and Richard were close,
Yeah.
and of course George didn't work for Elvis, but Richard and George used to try to get Danny to go chase Baba down with a toothbrush.
Baba was
Priscilla's dog.
German Shepherd. No, not German Shepherd.
Collie. Wonka. And Wonka is a
Loud mouth.
bug.
Shut up. Anyway, I think we'll let that do it for this video and all, and just want to thank everybody for, the ones who watch us and all that. Hope you enjoy, our stories and all. And
We got a million stories.
if you hadn't already subscribed, or you know somebody that might like our channel and all, tell them to subscribe. The more we get, the longer we can stay doing the videos and all. And with that, what do we always say?
Elvis Fans Matter.